How's it going, YouTube? Dan the Plastic Man here. I hope you guys are doing well. Welcome to MS Report Episode 6. It's been a while since we've done this, but as always, I'm joined by my two best commentators. Please introduce yourselves, guys.
Hey guys, Second Soundwave here from Channel 2S.
And this is me, MaxDuo. You probably heard me make a noise right as soon as Dan started speaking. Hooray! No deleting this time. I don't think I mentioned the last two episodes, so
Yeah.
I still have the old files as a reminder to not do it again.
Good.
Yeah.
So we've got a fun little program for you guys this time around. We're gonna talk about some of the announcements that came out of the latest show, the Gunpla Expo 2016.
Expo 2016.
When it was at Tokyo. So we're going to talk a brief bit about those. But tonight we're really going to be talking about Gundam series, be they anime, be they manga, that we would like to see have a second chance or a do-over or anything, expansion, whatever. So first and foremost, we'll get some of the announcements out of the way, get some reactions from everybody. So, I know that we were talking about this before we even started. Second, take it away with your number one wanted high grade.
Well, if you guys remember a few episodes back, I mentioned back then that I don't remember if it was like my second or third, but it was pretty high up on the list. I really, really wanted them to make a high grade ground GM. And there was one at Gunpla Expo. As far as we know, it's not P. Bondi. As far as we know.
Bum, bum, bum.
I would say it is definitely retail release. There's not a single piece of red on that price tag that I can see except for I think it's the date, but there's no big red banner saying premium or anything like that. No hobby shop exclusive. It is retail.
Which is awesome because that's the first genuinely new non-revived high grade we've gotten in 2 years.
I'd have to do some research on that, but
okay, because everything released last year was a Revive, and then the V2 Assault Buster and the Victory Dash. The last original kit we got was the Zeta 2, which was released in the end of 2014.
Are you
and
just
this is going to be released...
UC?
What?
Were you just referring to UC only, I guess?
Yeah, HVUC.
Oh, I guess I didn't hear part of that because I was sitting here thinking, we've had high grades.
Yeah, no, I mean actually original HGUC kits that aren't variants or revives. The last one we got was the Zeta 2 in late 2014, and this is going to be coming out in early 2017. So that's about a 2-year gap.
Just about.
Speaking of non-revives and stuff, that reminds me that we got to see the newest HD revive, the Strike Freedom.
Mm-hmm.
Which I kind of look at that and it's that's cool, but at the same time, we just had the really awesome Master Grade 2.0 Strike come out, and part of me is I love the Strike. I like the Strike Freedom, its wings and a whole lot about it, so much more. And so I look at that this is cool, but now I just want to have an MG 2.0 of that.
I was about to get nitpicky and say what came out was the Freedom 2.0, not the Strike Freedom. So
yeah,
that's why I kind of paused for a moment. I was like, screw it, go with it.
Honestly, when it comes to seed master grades, I say Justice then Strike Freedom 2.0. Honestly.
Yes, because doggone it, where is Justice? I don't care if they try to point us towards infinite Justice. There is still enough difference between the two. Give us the stinking Justice.
Well, worst comes to worst, you could just put the real grade on some stilts.
Yeah. No, I mainly just kind of look at that though, and all I can really think is well, this is really cool, but I'm not in love with it enough that I would buy that and then not feel really sad if an MG 2.0 came out. I guess it'd still be pretty awesome because all the HD revives are really nice.
Yeah,
I've just been thinking about a 2.0 of the Strike Freedom for so long.
The thing with the Strike Freedom and Destiny is that they're kind of lumped into that era that's kind of not quite bad enough to need a 2.0, but not quite good enough to be a good kit, they're in that kind of middle ground of the Master Grade line.
They both have good traits, but they also have some traits that could have been done better. But they were the best that they could have been.
That's what I mean. It's like that with a lot of those from that era. They're in that transitional period of this isn't so horrible that it needs a new kit, but it's also not going to look that great next to, newer kits.
Yeah.
On a
So at the
brief,
same time, I kind of feel like when I think about Master Grade 2.0, like I think I've mentioned this before. I don't remember if it was on the podcast or something else, but like completely in my mind now, the 2.0 means more or less having like everything that the Strike 2.0, or God, there's no Strike 2.0, the Freedom 2.0 has, like all the gimmicks, all the extra articulation, and then maybe even more new stuff if they felt like it.
Right.
Like I
and
just
then
like the idea of things getting that treatment.
and then there's also the redesign of the lines, because quite a few of the cues on the MG Freedom 2.0, I would bet good money they were taken from the metal build. So
I'd
I
say
see.
that's a fairly safe bet.
All right, now speaking of master grades, we've only gotten 2 this year, and I'm still working on my Thunderbolt full armor. But we did get a prototype, a half-hearted prototype, and I'm not even going to rant about that, but we did get a prototype of the Psycho Zaku. But from what I'm looking at with these pictures, there is no backpack on this thing, obviously, and it just looks like they really rushed to get this thing out. So something.
They probably told one of their design guys that they needed it the day before the convention. Is my suspicion.
It just looked. And most of these prototypes do look rough, but this one, yeah,
this one was special.
Part of me is assuming since we have 2 expos so close together, maybe they had that one ready and they're like, well, we might as well show this one and then show like another better one later. I mean, that was more of just a hope, but
because we are only a couple days away, 10 actually.
I'm almost thinking that
5 cents
it would
a
have
couple.
probably been a more impressive display of the kit if they just had a giant poster with the CAD model on it or something, just because that at least would have been a little more cleaned up.
Yeah, it would have. So
I think the other thing that's really weird on that though is it was announced at almost the same time as the full armor, it feels like, and it feels like that was, I know it's not, but it feels like that was a year ago, and it's just like, here's the first thing you get, a really messy prototype.
Yep. We've been doing absolutely nothing to make this for the last year. We just now started.
procrastination for the win.
Yes.
And then we also got that dreaded premium Bandai Master Grade announcement of Heavy Arms Kai. Second and I have ranted and rambled and raved about this, so that's not going to happen here. So, needless to say...
I will say the funny thing on that for me is I don't think Heavy Arms is like one of my favorites, but of the Endless Waltz stuff, that probably would be like the number 2 one I would want. But meanwhile, somehow, my favorite stylistic one, the Death Scythe Hell Custom, that one has a Master Grade. It's old, but...
I'm thinking that, from what I've always heard from, just the general Gunpla community, it seems like pretty much all the Wing Gundams are kind of held across, equal popularity, more or less, other than the Sandrock, which nobody likes, but... literally...
I knew one person that liked the Sandrock.
I was about to say, whose favorite Gundam is the Sandrock?
It's not a favorite, but I do like it.
I know, but who says their favorite Gundam from Wing is the Sandrock?
One person that I haven't spoken to in the past 10 years.
Yeah, but seriously, okay. Question to the audience. How many of you actually seriously like the Sandrock most out of the wingsuits or know someone who does?
I would be interested in seeing those comments. I have Googled it one time and I found someone else, but I've never understood it.
They're It's like the Team Instinct of Gundam.
All right.
Gundam Go.
So, we've gotten a couple other good shots of IBO 1/100ths and 1/144ths. The one that I actually like the most, other than the 1/100 Barbatos Lupus, that thing just looks amazing, and I love how they showed off the cutaway frame with all the new bits. This one they're calling, they're just calling it.
One.
It's the one that's got the rapier in the missile pods.
I love how they showed you that the missile pod thing just moves like an inch back to pull the rapier out. I don't know if that means that the Gundam just
can't. And they called it movie action.
Yes, I remember taking the picture of that and being like, hey guys, look, full movie action.
Looking at the pictures, though, I'm going to call that there are actually blades in the toes, and based on... This is a very, very big stretch, and if anybody wants to comment or talk about this with me, please feel free to. But these diagonal cuts that I'm seeing in the chest piece on the torso,
Hey everyone, quick little post edit from MaxDuo here. We're going to mention a big spoiler from the ending of Iron-Blooded Orphans. So if you haven't seen the whole series, or you haven't seen the very ending of it at least, you should probably skip about a minute and a half ahead in the video. So here's about a 5 count. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Spoiler time!
I'm gonna bet that this might be a salvaged Chimaris.
That is a stretch. However, it is a very knightly looking mobile suit.
Which is really fitting to Galio.
It is. And he did did Galio die at the end?
We don't
They
know,
left-
but it's assumed so.
Okay.
It was
I
left
honestly the ending of because he like drowned under the ice or something. Was that Carta? I don't remember.
That Carta, she died in her cockpit as the Chimaris trooper was carrying her grays
Carrying
off.
her, yeah. And then Galio like drowned underwater or something, didn't he? Like I seem to remember somebody's like cockpit like filling up with water.
I didn't even remember that part. I just remembered he lost.
I know that. What's his name?
Oh, by the way, spoilers for Iron-Blooded Orphans.
Ein?
No, it's not Ein. It's
Oh.
McGillis, the Grimgird. He shoved his blade through the torso, but then we never saw.
Like a cockpit shot, yeah.
Yeah, we never saw a confirmed dead Gaelio, so he may have survived, and that might be a. I know, like I said, it is a huge stretch, but it may be a rebuilt Chimaris, rebuilt and redesigned.
I could see that. And honestly, I'd say that is probably hands down my favorite design out of Iron-Blooded Orphans. Just even in resin prototype form, I just love it. It looks so cool.
It does look
Yes.
really cool.
I was
There's
happy to get to see more of it, but I was really sad to not see its colors this time around.
Yeah,
I
I know. I was waiting for that. I was hoping
No.
we'd see like all the colored pics, and then the only ones we got to see colored were the.
Lupus.
Well, no, not just the Lupus. We saw the that one grunt from the trailer with like the big shield, and they showed a couple others off. Like I think they showed the kind of souped-up grays had like the kind of ammo drum.
Oh yeah,
looking
because they
head.
changed its color.
Yes, that one, and then the one with the ammo drum head. You know that one?
Yeah,
That
the one
like
with
has
the
like the sort of
gear-looking swords.
yeah, that one. And the what I was calling the super grays in my videos, that used to be that really cool teal, and now it's just kind of a generic army green color. Not really that
Yes.
impressed with that.
You said
But
there
we
need
did
to be
see
more teal
those.
Gundams.
And then we didn't see the colored version of the cool Gundam or the Cannon Gundam.
Yeah.
We didn't see anything of the Cannon Gundam actually. Wait, no, I think they did. I think they did actually have a resin prototype for it there, but still.
They do, and it looks like it's an Astaroth base. At least that's what I'm seeing. But we'll
That's
move
what you
on.
were saying based off of the V-fin, right?
Yeah,
It does make me wonder, though, because actually the Astaroth, like at least the V-fin that it has, isn't even supposed to be the original one. So it just
Oh.
makes me wonder if like there were a bunch of things that
Maybe
were designed to look like that at some point.
So Steel Moon's between seasons, or before everything, or after everything?
I think Steel Moon is at least sometime after partway through season 1, because there's oh god, what were those? The Man Roadies. There's
Uh-huh.
two like custom Man Roadies that were basically picked up from that asteroid field or the junk field.
Okay, right.
gotcha.
So it
'Cause what
happens
I
at
was-
least after that.
Okay, because what I was thinking is that if it happened like way after season 2, it could be possible that the Cannon Gundam is the one that they like salvaged those parts from to fix the Astaroth. But
We'll find out.
you know,
Let's
like
chalk it up
that
to
would
that.
be
We'll
possible.
find out.
I have to say something about Steel Moon, though. You
What?
have to take off your hat in front of other people.
Oh,
It's,
Okay.
it's the strangest
Second-
line.
it's a line from an MS fight that Max was telling me
No,
about.
no, it's
Okay.
yeah, it's from like the first episode. He's the guy's piloting the Astaroth, and he's getting angry at the like hat wearing looking one that I can't remember the name of suddenly, and he keeps like hitting it. He just
Oh,
starts
is that
getting
the like triad or whatever? The
Yeah, yeah.
triage or something it's called.
Yeah, and he just starts complaining. He's like, that hat, that stupid hat, the freaking hat. And he just like, for some reason, getting so mad about the hat. And then he just suddenly like swings the demolition knife or something and screams, "Didn't you know that you're
Oh, so this is
supposed
the
to?"
This is the Astaroth pilot doing this.
Yeah, he just like
Okay.
screams something like, take off your hat in front of other people.
And he like cuts off his head, or
he like smashes the head completely.
oh wow. Okay, I need to read Steel Moon now.
Yeah, even like the guy translating it was like, guys, I didn't make up that line. That's literally what it says. I don't know.
All right, I'll focus on two more announcements that we got, and one of them is actually going to be clarified in about 10 days, and that's the next RE100, which Gundam Guy has all but confirmed is the Bawu, even though Bandai has not officially confirmed it yet, even though it comes from Double Zeta. So we'll be finding out.
I think it's probably fairly likely just because of how distinctive the silhouettes of most of the Double Zeta designs are. Like,
yeah.
Every one of them has like weird stuff sticking off in some direction. So it would be very clear by silhouette if it was one of those.
Yeah. I'll get it whenever it comes out, because the DJ and the Ifrit, I loved those builds. I truly enjoyed the RE100 line. And then, believe it or not, we've gotten our fourth real grade for the year, and it will be released in 2016. It is the Build Strike full package. Not the star build, but the full package. And I'm actually okay with this. I'm probably going to pick it up. I don't have a real grade Strike, and we've talked about this before, and the shoulders are kind of wonky. So
they are. Like, I'm totally fine with there being a real grade Build Strike. I've actually always kind of wanted them to be like real grade build fighters. I actually want to see a real grade Dark Matter Exia now. I think that would be really cool.
And as far as as I can recall, at least, I don't remember there being any big complaints about the real grade Exia like there were for the Master Grade.
There's no big real issues with it. The only thing I've found is that every single person I know that's built it has either lost one of those little ribbon cable parts for somewhere or has broken a piece, and every single one of them either broke a different piece or lost a different part of the ribbon cable.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's better than the reviews that I've seen about the train wreck of the Sinanju real grade, which I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to tell my subscribers right now, I will build a real grade, guys, but I am not getting the Sinanju. I'm going to stick with my Master Grade Sinanju Stein, and that's it.
And your Sinanju 1/2.
I've got the real grade pre-ordered, and I was like, I don't care if it's that bad. I'll go ahead and get it anyway. So I'll see how annoying it is.
I still can't believe that.
It's got to be like that's got to be like the biggest like Gunpla disappointment of 2016. I mean,
I cannot believe that Guy actually slapped it off the screen.
Like, it's like the only real grades that come out badly are the ones that like badly needed real grades. Like the Zeta badly needed a real grade. The real grade came out badly. The Sinanju badly needed a real grade. The real grade came out badly. The Mark II didn't really need a real grade, but the real grade was awesome.
Yeah, the real grade is awesome, no matter whether you get the Aug or the Titans version.
Yes, I'm going to get both of them at some point. Maybe even at the same time, I don't know. But I'm getting both of them.
Comparison video.
Yes. Not much to compare, just blue and white, and one of them has extra vents.
I do like the actual little like green sensors on the Titans version, though.
Yeah, it has enough subtle little differences they can kind of make them different.
Yeah.
All right. So, shall we transition into the meat of this cast then?
Sure.
All right.
Okay.
Well, I was talking with Max about what we were going to do about ideas for a cast, and we also discussed it with Second. So each of us is going to pick either an anime series or a manga or something from Gundam that we each want to see, expanded upon, given more substance. And if you guys want to comment or leave your own opinions, please do. audience participation is greatly encouraged in this cast. We want to know what you guys are thinking. So I'll go ahead and start us off. I got into Gundam with Gundam Wing, and I loved it when it came out, but that was 16 years ago. I will still watch it, but I always want to know more of the story. I don't want the combat moving the story. So I would love for Gundam Wing to get some form of a redo, a rehash, remake, whatever you want to call it, but more focus on the story, more on the characters, not just, Hero being the psycho that he is, Duo being the lighthearted one, Troa just saying he doesn't have a name, and doggone it, answer.
Have you read the Glory of the Defeated manga? Because from what I understand, that is a rewrite of Wing. I don't know if they focus more on the story, but I was curious to see if you'd seen that, since that is kind of in line with what you want to do.
I have read some of it, and it isn't so much that it expands the story of it. I think it kind of redoes a few things, and it fleshes out some stuff a little bit. But mainly what the purpose of Glory of the Losers is Gundam Wing had like a bunch of manga, and there's like a radio show and some other stuff, and they basically have incorporated all of that stuff, the backstory, the side story, and the post-story stuff to put it all as one big thing.
I think that's what I was confusing with Gundam the Origin, and that's why I was thinking it brought in side stories. That's probably what I was thinking of, because I read that about Wing, and I was misassociating that with Origin.
Yeah. So, I mean, you just basically, there's a bunch of backstory that was revealed in manga and stuff, and they just kind of crammed that in and then redesigned things and gave the Toge's wings.
That could actually be close to what Dan's looking for.
Well, still, I have not gotten anywhere near Glory of the Losers, so this is just me with my current knowledge and what I've experienced. And for the love of Pete, my favorite character in that entire series, I still to this day can never figure out whose side he's actually on, is Trace Kushranada. Do something to help me figure out what's going on in his head.
He does do a nice speech in Glory of the Losers about how every time he's looked at history, he always likes looking at what the losing side does. Like, I know he gave like a different speech in the anime, but he talks about the nobility and beauty of those who are like losing but still fight. And he says, "I want to be a loser."
They did also mention in Endless Waltz that Lady Unn said that he fought losing battles. So, if I remember right,
that was in there somewhere. I forgot that.
Yeah, I think it was near the end after Marimea had been shot and been saved and so on and so forth.
Yeah. I think it was just he was on the side of his ideals versus actually having
being on any one faction side.
Yeah. He wanted his ideals. He didn't really care who it came about from entirely. I do think one thing I'd like to see if they redid Wing as well is I kind of would rather the fights be redone a little bit. Like, get rid of some of the plot armor mechanics that they have for the Gundams, because like they are completely godlike invincible monsters for most of the fights.
Well, until Heavy Arms runs out of ammo.
Yeah, and then like they can just get to another fight and it's like, oh, whoops, suddenly a fly landed on this Gundam and it's been crippled, whereas before it's like you just took a missile into your thruster, you're fine.
Yeah.
That does need to be adjusted. That's actually one of the reasons why I wasn't able to get into Age, was because, the only thing that could do any damage to the UE/Vegan suits, or at least in the beginning, was the Age 1 itself, and I was like, no, not doing this. I want something with a bit less plot armor.
Yeah. Well, they did basically, like, after that first arc, which is like a third of it, they basically all right, we're just gonna, copy the Dodds rifle and give this to everyone now.
Mm-hmm.
I also thought it's funny, hey, the beam is more powerful because it's spinning. It's like, wait, how does that work for a beam?
That's not how science works.
Especially if you look at, like, the story about how, like, in all the things, how Minovsky particles, GN particles, blah, 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 blah works. It's always basically, this hits something and destroys it to the atomic level.
I want to go up to like some group of scientists now. They're like trying to drill through a rock with a laser. Like, ask them if they tried spinning it. Like, have you tried spinning it?
Oh man. But yes, that is the series that I would like to see given like redone or enhanced, expanded upon. So either second or Max, you guys are up.
I'll jump in with my what would probably seem very obvious to our hints about my obsessed model and design and everything. I would love to see this stop being a movie only. I would like to have a full series of Gundam F91. And even like the whole story of it goes, they had pretty much wrote out kind of an outline for a 49 or 51 episode series, and then they just like, oh, let's do a movie instead. Like I don't remember anything about how it came about. I don't think we even had
They
much
got like
information.
I think there was like a budget cut or something that resulted in them not having the money to
Mhm.
make a full movie.
Yeah,
It
but then
wasn't
it
like
just
they just
became a movie.
decided to make a movie. It was like an actual like kind of forced decision.
Yeah, so I'd like to see like where they were gonna kind of go with it and all, because I thought the movie was still decent. I know that I've seen a lot of people that didn't like it, but I still thought it was pretty good. I like a lot of the changes about how different factions were popping up, different mobile suit manufacturers, mobile suit design was changing, and they even
Hmm.
kind of changed it because a lot of Gundam stuff before was basically new types versus regular people, space versus the Earth, kind of differences on like I guess sort of race, but not really race, because I mean one is just like you've gone up in space and supposedly you're smarter, or at least like origin. And then F91 kind of was taking this thing of like Cosmo Babylonia. They basically were saying like we think we need an aristocracy, we need kings and queens, and the rich people need to be the ones that have power, not voted officials, not blah blah blah. It has to be the rich people. So it was, I guess, like an interesting change. There's money should be in charge of everything, not voting. Not to mention, it had a lot of different, cool, weird designs for the mobile suits.
Hmm.
Speaking of designs for the mobile suits, I'm just gonna bring up something that's always kind of bugged me about the Universal Century is the pace at which technology progresses.
Yes.
Like the fact at which like the 0079 starts in like September, right? Like it starts like in the fall, and it's like a 4 month last section of the war, and Xeon's coming out with like 11 new mobile suit designs, and then the Federation finds a way to mass produce the Gundam that was like barely in prototype stage a few months earlier in time for the final battle, and it's like after that in all the OVAs they always have like 11 different kinds of Jims and 40 different kinds of Zaku's, and then you get to Char's counterattack and they have the Jigen, and 30 years later in F91 they still have the Jigen.
Yes. Well, it's funny
Because
as well because they got like all the crazy, insane new type magic going on. From you know 0079 to like 96 or so, just weird, bizarre stuff. Just basically magic happening. And then
Right.
in F91, like the new types are basically gone. Like they do reference it, but there's no more bits or anything, and it's just like, hey, here's our big advancement, beam shields.
And then you
Also,
still have a Gundam that can be in 20 places at once, but still.
the reason why the technology stagnated was, they didn't have any. Unicorn didn't exist at the time, so when F91 came along, the last thing had been Char's counterattack, so they just wrote it off that everything had been hunky dory and peaceful in the Earth sphere and the colonies. And even still, Unicorn is supposed to be this really secret event that doesn't really get broadcast, even though I've seen the ending and I know what happens there, but it just would have to get buried for F91 to
Sure.
still happen the way it does.
well, I mean,
Right.
they still had stuff going on. Like they still continued building military stuff and whatnot. Like the Federation decided that
And
they
they
wanted to
use Jigens
make
and
their own
Unicorns for
division.
like they use Jigens and Unicorns for like the bulk of the forces anyway. So
Yeah. But I mean, they were still like doing a lot of advancement and building a lot of stuff though throughout it. Like they were still constantly working on things. Like the whole thing about the SNRI existing and uh, oh, I, I can't remember suddenly the main mobile suit manufacturers.
Anaheim.
Yes, Anaheim. I kept wanting to call it AUG. I was like, no, that's no. But the Anaheim, they kind of fell out of grace and they did other things until they just kind of vanished. But I mean, like even Jupiter was kind of making their own stuff, and Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on. They were developing a lot of different technologies and stuff. So it's not like they just kind of didn't make weapons, but they just kind of I don't know. I guess also since they just kind of made a series that was so many years later, they're just kind of like, well, we can't keep moving at the pace we were. But I think also like the first two series were kind of getting stuck in the whole like we need to sell toys and sell model kits.
Yeah.
So they that's why they're like, here's your mobile armor of the week and whatnot.
It more annoys me with the grunts, where you have things like, like the GM Type C and the GM Command Type and the normal GM, like all existing within a few months of each other. And I wish they just kind of stuck to one.
Heck, more like within 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
Well, at the same time, it could be parallel could be drawn that F-14, F-18, F-15, F-16, all combat aircraft, but
Yes, but those are specialized variants. They aren't just generic combat aircraft with different skins, They're designed for different situations. The GM C, the GM Command, and the GM are all for the same multi-purpose functions.
I do want to say as like a little additional thing on top of the F-91 thing though, is I would also kind of like this will be my like runner-up or whatever. I would at least like to see kind of a more serious like anime adaptation of Crossbone, and maybe serious is the wrong choice, but like when you read through it, like C-Book in F-91, what C-Book is 17, but his character design looks like he could be like 22, 23 or something. And then in Crossbone Gundam, he's supposed to be 27. He looks like he's like 15.
He does. I was surprised when I read Crossbone and saw those character models.
Yeah. Who's Kinkado? See, what? Cecily looked like she's like 10.
oh, good lord.
Yeah, it's really weird. But I'd like to see it get kind of a more serious like adaptation and kind of fleshed out and stuff. But like I would just take that as like part of an F-91 thing because it is kind of continuing sort of the same story stuff in a sense. Like the Crossbone group kind of starts going away, and then they make their own Crossbone group to kind of stop the Jupiter Empire from their shenanigans.
So Crossbone's after F-91, right?
Yes, 10 years after.
Okay.
Question for you, man. Where does Silhouette fall in?
Silhouette is like right before the beginning of F-91. Like they stole the F-91 design and tried to make their own little crack at it or whatever.
Gotcha.
But this like even the whole story of that basically took place over like 2 or 3 days maybe. So it just kind of, yeah they were testing out their design, and some Crossbone guys found them, and a small skirmish happened, and then some other stuff happened, and then it was over.
That sounds like the synopsis of literally anything.
Well, I just mean
happened, and then other stuff happened, and then it was over.
Well, I mean, it was like here's a tiny skirmish.
That'd be funny if someone like hacked like Netflix or something, like changed all the movie descriptions to that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I mean, it was like a 12-issue long manga or something, and there was basically only like 3 battles really.
That's kind of lame.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's also kind of short, where where the issues are like 20, 30 issues long, or I mean, issues. Good lord, 20, 30 pages long or so. Yeah. And like some of the fights do kind of stretch out between them, and you see like some story, then the fight's still happening, then some story, and the fight's still happening. But it's definitely not a big event. Whereas like F-91, I imagined that the original plot for F-91 was supposed to take months, but the whole movie probably takes place in I don't know what, like 2-3 weeks.
Maybe.
If even
I don't
that.
know. I haven't actually seen F-91, so.
I think it's closer to. It might even be maybe even 1 week or so.
Yeah, I would place it around like 1 to 2 weeks or something.
At the most.
Like no one could convince me it takes place over a month or something, but
no, there's no way that certain things could have happened in that long of a time, just with the fact that it happens pretty much in one colony.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they don't just like go battle to battle to battle, end it. Like they kind of fight, and they have a while where they're kind of going around and doing stuff, and then they have a fight, then they're kind of going around trying to figure stuff out, and you see some stuff happening. Seabook leaves, and Seabook tries to get Cecily. He can't. Seabook comes back. I mean, it could be a few days between everything that happens, but not much more than that. But yeah, F91's my vote. Let's stop having this hour-and-a-half long movie and get the 49 to 51 episode series instead, and make it.
I think it's a full 2 hours.
I'm not sure.
Full 2 hours. I know because I started watching it and I was pretty sure it was like a full 2 hour movie.
Either way, though, we definitely need more.
Yes. Yeah. Not to mention in general, I want things. Not to mention, like in general, I want things that happen at a later point than Unicorn.
Yeah.
Like we got F91 and we got Victory Gundam, and they're like, okay, let's keep doing the same 20-year time frame.
Not even that. It's like even within that 20 years, like half of it's within like the 1 year war, and that's it.
Yeah. So just show us some more stuff. I did want to say one other small, quick mention as well.
You could argue that Turn A and Reconquista could be kind of like extended Universal Century.
Yeah, but they're so different that even if it is supposed to be centuries or whatever later, it's kind of just barely related. Like, hey, it was this ancient history. And it's like it's like legend at the point that those happen.
Hey, there's a statue of Izaku here.
Yes. I did want to say though, my one other.
You mentioned the Universal Century once.
I think they mentioned it several times actually.
Yeah, I don't know. I only got past like the first 4 episodes of Recco, so.
My quick mention though is I've always been curious, like what happened right before Seed, and my only reason I really want to see that is because you watch Seed and then you watch Destiny, and it's like, okay, by the ending we've got like basically handguns that can blow up planets. They're like, technology became so powerful so fast. I would like to see what happened before this.
Not to be dead silent here, I was just a little distracted for a second. I'm kind of trying to multitask here, and I'm like editing 2 unboxings at once while I'm recording this podcast.
I've been sitting here like, all right, can I work on this model? No, I'm not going to work on it. I'm just going to sit back and spin around in the chair.
Yeah. So you done talking about F91?
Never, but yeah.
Okay, good, because we're almost as long as F91 right now. So.
Yeah.
Well, halfway there.
Now for yours.
Yes, for mine, I know when we were talking earlier, I kind of threw out a bunch of options that I could have done. And what I think I'm going to go with, and there's obviously a lot of things I'd like to see, most of which are manga or novel adaptations, but I think if I did choose one thing, and we already kind of have this, but I would like to see a real proper adaptation of Mobile Suit Gundam: The Origin. We have the OVA, it's pretty cool, but it's not the whole thing. They just took the new material, and I'd kind of like to see them just completely animate Gundam: The Origin, because 0079 is a great show and all, but it's old, and like really old, and the animation is terrible, and there are some really great Universal Century shows that take place after it and were made after it that look really nice. But the fact that you have to sit through 0079 before you can watch Zeta or Unicorn or Char's Counterattack is just kind of off-putting. It would be nice if there was just a really well-animated version of 0079. And we have the manga, of course, but it would be really cool to see that in like an animated form.
There is one funny thing on the animation of 79, since it's so old. There was another podcast I listened to, the Super Best Friend Cast, and one of them has just started watching Gundam a few months ago, and everybody's like, oh no, just watch like 08, and you can maybe check out Zeta, go watch some other series. But he's just like, no, I'm gonna watch it from the beginning, and he watched 79, and he comes in, he's like that terrible animation. I love it. He keeps talking about how he's like, yeah, the Zaku lands and it just starts melting, and
yes, that happened.
I guess there's some enjoyment to that.
That happened with a guy I know online that started watching it. It worked for him just because he likes old cheesy 70s mecha anime. But man, that is you need a very specific kind of taste or to be a very dedicated Gundam fan in order to stomach 0079.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, even just designs of a lot of the mobile suits, I can't really even get into their nicer models. Like, yeah, I
Yeah,
guess
like the
the newest,
GOG.
yeah, even like the newest Gundam with all the new things it had added into it, it's just kind of like, well, it's got a lot of good stuff, but it's still just a lot of big flat pieces that I don't find as interesting. So I also like in Origin how everything gets kind of slightly redone a little bit. A lot of them are
Yes,
starting to look really
everything gets
nice.
panel lines. Everything
Yeah.
looks better.
Mm-hmm.
Gun Tank is really interesting looking.
Yes, it is. And one thing I'm going to mention is I see these on Gundam Guy from time to time, like scans of like these concept arts for like some kind of like remake of Advance of Zeta or something. Like, is that something that's actually ongoing, or is that just like the mechanical designer messing around?
I have no clue.
I think it might be the designer messing around. I don't know, man.
Do you know what I'm talking about, right? Like you see those on Gundam Guy from time to time. Like they just did one recently for like the High GOG where it has like these big missile things on the shoulders. And I've seen like over the course of the last 2 or 3 years, all these like it was called like I think it was called like Re-Advance of Zeta or something design.
Yeah, yeah.
And I don't know if that's just like a article in Hobby Japan that just is like a bunch of pictures, or if there's like an actual like remake of Advance of Zeta.
I don't believe it's a remake. I think it might be like a magazine scan or something.
Yeah.
I'm gonna compare it to I've got this set of Gundam wallpapers on my laptop, and they came from what did I have to look them up by? The word that was common on every single one was mechanic file. Like I would look for.
Yeah, those
Yeah.
things. I know those. Yeah. That's like a book series that they did or something where it's like just
That's
artwork
what
of
I'm
different
comparing
Gundams.
it. That's what I think it is. I think it's along those lines.
Okay, sure. It kind of bums me out because I'm looking at that. I'm like, there must be like some new addition to Advance of Zeta I don't know about, but I've never been able to find like an actual piece of fiction that relates to those designs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've tried to look it up a few times. Like, what manga is this? Oh, what? It's not one. Yeah, I like the
Much
idea you had
sadness.
earlier as well that you were mentioning, where it's like let's go into like even the point of like some Zeta stuff and Zeta backstory. Like, I'd love to see something spanning like way throughout the UC timelines with the origin style.
Mm-hmm. Very much so.
Like they could do a 1 Year War one. They could do like what was it like the Grips conflict or whatever they called Zeta, that whole sort of arc.
Yeah.
And then they could maybe, well, I guess we already have Unicorn, and that's pretty amazing on its own. So
Yeah.
after that, maybe like something that like combines like F91 Crossbone and F90 maybe as like a remake sort of.
I'd like to kind of see also how did Victory Gundam come about? Speaking as far as like origin treatment. Because Victory is just kind of like, hey, giant war is going on. Or not even war, it's just like, there's a bunch of crap going on. Yay.
Yeah. Doesn't like, what is it, like the new one, like Crossbone Dust or something? Like, doesn't that take place around Victory?
I think so. No, wait, Ghost was basically at the, near the early, like, middle of Victory. And Dust is a little later, but I'm not sure when.
Okay, so none of them are really about the start of Victory. They're just sort of side stories to it.
Yeah, because you actually see 3 of the female pilots that are piloting Victory Gundams. You see them face off against Tobia in his Crossbone Ghost.
Mm-hmm. That I guarantee you will never, ever, 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 ever get a kit of.
Nope.
Because it's a new mold, and like that's the thing with a lot of the Crossbone designs is they're not based on anything, so there's really no way for them to make a kit of them anyway.
Well, actually, really, the Crossbone Ghost. I mean, like really between the X1, X2, X3 Ghost, they're all like relatively about the same, with just like slightly different pieces or slightly different weapons on them.
Yes, but the Ghost is like the most redesigned of all of them.
Yeah, but even then, it was just kind of like, here's an old one, and we put some parts from one of the other Crossbones on it.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't terribly different.
Hmm.
And it was also weird because Tobia's blind, and so he was a blind pilot using like radar, sonar stuff, and then there was another.
He does.
I think there was like
cool.
I think there were several blind pilots because like a second one showed up. It's like, oh, that's kind of dumb that here's another one, and then another one showed up that was blind. I was like, please God, so this was interesting and a little bit weird, but now it's starting to get don't do this anymore.
Everyone's blind.
And then Xeonic Scanlation stopped translating it, so I have no idea what happened. Much like
I
how
thought they had.
there's no big reason for Dan to read Glory of the Losers, because Xeonic Translations decided to stop translating that as well.
Oh well, that's just perfect.
Yep. All the Gundam manga that will never get translated for who knows why.
Well, the only other person I know of that really does it is Nozaku, and he doesn't really have a site. He just kind of dumps them on the internet from time to time. And he continued up MSVR Return of Johnny Raiden where Xeonic left off, and I think he also just did the first MSV Johnny Raiden manga as well. So he's kind of picking that up, but that's about the only options we have for people that do that.
Yeah, I do find it a little weird though. Like, there's all these scanlators and whatnot out there, and like people will translate manga that they like hate, but then like the Gundam stuff still can't get translated.
Yeah.
So, guys, do we have anything else we really want to talk about?
Models we're building.
Yep, there's that.
Well, I got started on my Master Grade Full Armor Thunderbolt Verka, and it's a beast. I'm just trying to find time between work, school, to get it finished. I'm hoping I can have it finished by next Wednesday, if I get enough time to just sit down and put a good 3 or 4 hours into it. And then after that, it'll be a few of the. It's either going to be the MG Blitz, or it's going to be an Age High Grade or two.
Have you finished the Regis Z yet?
No.
Why? Haven't you had that like half built for like 2 years?
I think he secretly hates it.
No, it's not that I hate it. It's that
Hates.
I just keep getting distracted by other projects. I'll finish that on Sunday, and I'll put up a snapshot review on Monday. If I don't, you guys have my permission to give me a ton of grief and crap about it, because it would take 10 minutes to finish it.
Hey, you still got to finish the Hirairu as well, no matter how much you hate the transformation.
Oh, good lord.
Oh yes, you do actually.
That is going to take a while, because of the parts got dumped. So I've got to try to track them down.
Oh, fun. Well, I think it's funny. My building stuff has like an additional story onto it and everything. Like, as much as I talk about loving the F91 and whatnot, I had never actually built the master grade of it. I even bought it a few months ago, but I kept working on other things instead. I was like, let me get back into the Gundam building and work on this. And I thought for years that I had an F91 model, and I kept going back to my old place and looking, and I couldn't find it. And there's several models that I could swear I had that I didn't take to college with me, and no matter how much I looked, I couldn't find them. Asked the parents, nope, we don't have them anywhere. They'd be in your closet. I'm like, okay. I go look in the closet again, nothing. So I start building my Master Grade F91 here, and like I'm like super excited while building it because like I love some of like the little extra thing or the little things it has on it, making it different. Like I really love the big vent chest. I like the different like thrusters it has on the back and stuff. Like just the whole thing's really like I love seeing this one come together, especially with it being one of my favorite ones. But as I start building this, I go home recently to help clean up, help do a yard sale and whatnot, and I find that apparently at some point when one of the rooms was being redone and everything in the house got moved around, a box of my stuff got put in the basement while I was in college, and wouldn't you know it, but here's like 8 super old, like 1/100 high grade models, one of which is the like 1991 model of the F91. And several others, but I saw that, I was like, I knew it.
I bet that's fun to build after the master grade.
It sure will be. But yeah, it's funny because I could swear I just knew for years I had purchased it. I knew that I had got the Airmaster Burst. I was like 99% certain I got the Leopard Destroy, and I could not find them no matter how much I looked. And it turns out, yes, they were hidden from me. But it is also interesting being that this is like the 1991 model of the F91. Because it's back when they still kind of did the color-injected parts. So like you literally have like a physical, like also painted, like F91 on the shoulder. Like when I
Oh, that's
looked at it, I
cool.
was like, oh, I forgot about these.
So it's like that thing they brought back for the figurized bus.
Yes. But yes, for now, so I'm working on the Master Grade F91. It's got a head, a chest, and an arm, and I've been way too busy to do anything else with it, just for going back home to help with stuff, going off on a beach trip for about a week, and
Yes, and you brought a
packing.
Mark II Revive with you for no reason.
Yes. Well, my thing on that is like usually a bunch of people we would go as a big group, and everyone but me and my roommate, they would all leave on Sunday, and I was like, okay, well, I'm going to go outside and do stuff, but my roommate's going to probably, be lazy and take naps and stuff to take advantage of vacation. And I never sleep a whole lot, so I would have to do something, and I can't just spend the entire time outside or watching cable TV. So I was like, I'll work on this. But then we had some people stay till like almost Monday night, and then Tuesday morning was basically go outside, do things, and spend the rest of the time cleaning and packing. So I took a Mark II Revive. I looked at it some, and then I brought it back. So I'll probably build that when I finish the F91.
Could have built it in the car ride home.
Well, no, I was driving, so.
Well, yeah, that's what I meant. I mean, maybe
No.
you're in slow traffic and you're just standing still in the highway for like an hour, and you just bring a Gundam with you to build. Pass
Yeah,
the
I
time.
was on the highway for about 3 hours, so that works. I guess that's it for me. What about you, Al? 2. I keep on saying channel 2S is like second Soundwave. Second.
Second. There you go. There you go.
Second
You didn't say
son.
my name wrong. You did not. He definitely did not say my name wrong 3 times in a row.
I still
So,
like when I called you second son a time or two, and then someone
yes.
else
And
called
someone picked up on it in the comments. Yeah.
they just they just took that as your name.
So anyway, obviously I have not built anything like built proper in 2 months, although I did get a couple new Gundams in the mail today, filmed a couple unboxings, did not build them yet, but I will be building the Hi-Nu Gundam and the Psycho Zaku animation version because they are cool and I wanted to build them and they looked fun.
Yes.
And actually there's a bit of a story behind the Hi-Nu because when I first got into Gundam back in 2011, 2012, I remember seeing Robert 184's review of that kit and absolutely falling in love with it. And at the time, it was out of print literally everywhere. Like, just, there was like straight up no way to get one unless you want to pay like $50 on Amazon. It was like impossible to find, kind of like the Gerbera Tetra is now. So, of course, I wasn't able to get a hold of one. Really wanted one for a while, and eventually did get reprinted like 2013, 2014, something like that. But never got around to getting one, so I finally got one. I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to get this. And looking at it, looking at the runners, I think I made a good choice because it looks super awesome.
Good.
And of course, the Psycho Zaku is cool because I, just watched Thunderbolt last night, so it's fresh in my mind.
Stickers
Yeah,
galore.
Yeah. I built the Zaku 1 Thunderbolt, and I remember you talk about the stickers, and I pulled out the sticker sheet, and I was like, here's a lot of stickers. And then there was the decal sticker sheet. It's, they've just got 4 times more of them now. Fun.
I don't know how they did this on the Zaku 1, but on the Psycho Zaku, I counted them on Belong, there are like 39 stickers just on the backpack that are like little circles and squares and stuff.
Well, it's not that big for the Zaku 1, but it doesn't really have the giant monster backpack, so...
And the thing is, the difference, pretty much the only big difference between the animation and manga versions is the shades of gray used. And since the gray on like those little detail stickers and the gray on the backpack are almost identical, I'm probably just going to leave them off since you can't even really tell they're different. Like on the manga one, they were like a really light gray and the backpack was a really dark gray, so it actually looked like detailing. But really, on the animation version, all they add is like the half micron of thickness of the sticker. Like there's not a lot of like color variants added by the stickers, so I'm just going to leave them off.
Yeah, I still haven't put most of the stickers for the decals for the Zaku 1 on. Like, I'm going to put a few of them on at some point, but I look at it and it's like, well, this is a nice high grade, but I don't really want to put on like 30 decals.
I am not going to put on most of like the actual like clear sticker sheet decals on it, just because I don't do that anyway, because I hate them.
Yeah.
But I'm going to
I
put
had
on like the orange ones and the maybe a couple of the gray ones in some other areas, and
well,
like the silver
I
on the
definitely,
shoulder.
as far as the decals go, I had to put those on like the old Master Grade Goof Custom.
Uh-huh.
Because like I look at that and it's just like this plastic looks cheap and it's just this big blank blue, light blue thing. It doesn't look good. And I was like, let's just put, I'm gonna put on these like 5 stickers. And I was like, oh wow, this looks
Almost
a lot
acceptable.
better. And then I put every single sticker on after that, even though I wasn't going to initially do it.
That reminds me, Max. One of the other kits you found when you went back home, you found a Master Grade Camphor.
Yes, you did.
I was a little confused because like I remember even thinking at one point that I wanted to get that, and I was like, huh. I was like, I thought I did, but maybe I only thought about it. Like that wasn't one of the ones that I was certain of, so I saw that. I was like, well.
It's funny you mentioned that, because I also, in addition to the 2 kits that just came, I actually have some other stuff coming in the mail from Japan, and one of those kits is actually the high-grade camphor.
Oh.
That should be an interesting little build.
Speaking
Yes,
of.
and I looked at it on Dalong, and of course, I looked at the articulation, and the knee moves like 10 degrees. Like, it's really, really bad because, like, the thruster bumps into the calf.
Yeah.
But honestly, the thing with the older high grades is I just get ones where I really like the design, so even if it's a crappy kit, it's like not a big deal because at least it'll still look cool to me,
Mm-hmm.
So I love the camphor. Like, it's one of my like top 10 Xeon suits. So even if it ends up being a pretty bad kit, it'll still just look cool, and it has like dual shotguns and stuff. So it can only be so bad.
I love that it has the shotgun, which is part of why I also really love the Astroth Origin. It's like, yes, more shotguns.
Yes, shotgun and a sledgehammer.
Yes.
Best weapon combo.
And coming back to Thunderbolt stickers, most of the ones that showed up when I did the unboxing for the Full Armor Thunderbolt Gundam, they're actually textured stickers to go inside the red thrusters that are all over the shoulders and the knees.
What do you mean by textured?
They're ridged.
Oh, really?
At least that's from what I can understand. I don't even think I've opened the bag yet that has those in there. Like I said, right now the current progress is the core pod and the stand. That's what's done, because that's the first 2 steps. You build the stand first, which is very weird, and then secondly you built the core pod.
Okay. Well, because when you said textured stickers, the very first thing that came to mind was those like extra color separation stickers they give you with the new Gundam and Suzabi Verka. That's what came to mind when you said that. Is it not that kind of thing?
Here's a Velcro sticker.
Not really. The stickers are they're obviously black, but they do have like grooves in them to line up with the thrusters inside the pieces. The red thrusters, like on the ends of the extra shoulder armor and on the kneecap, so on, so forth, etc., etc.
That is interesting.
Either way, though, this thing is going to be a beast. And I will say it again, that as soon as I laid eyes on the box art and the kit, RX-78 has never been a menacing-looking suit until this one.
It's downright terrifying in the OVA.
For some reason, just
that
the way...
is one of the most intimidating Gundams in animation.
Yeah, for some reason, to me, it looks like just a big bruiser. Like, just the blank thing. Just like, I don't know what it is, but it looks like it's some kind of, just big, tough guy, a bruiser, again.
It is by far and above, it has the most intense face on any RX-78. I will argue that there are other Gundams that look more menacing, but as far as the RX-78, which has always been somewhat bland, now the Origin did a good job of looking pretty mean, but this guy, he looks, sinister.
And what surprised me about the Master Grade was, I don't know if we mentioned this in the cast. I think we didn't, because this was quite a while before we started the cast. But I know, Dan, when you and I were talking one time, I think I mentioned that this was back when we just got the announcement of the Thunderbolt Gundam. I think I mentioned that I predicted that the only reason we got an Origin RX-78 was so that they could reuse chunks of it for the full armor Thunderbolt. And then I looked on Dalong recently because he just uploaded his, gallery for it or whatever, and it actually uses no parts from the Origin Gundam. That really surprised me.
It does not at all. It is all 100% brand spanking new. Because remember, one of the reasons why you don't like the Origin MG is there's no core block or core pod, whereas this one does have a core pod.
Which is pretty awesome. What I will say about the frame, though, is that it looks really bad. Like, I'm sure it's articulated stuff, but it looks like, the frames from, the 90s had more detail than that does. It literally looks like the skeletal armature frames that, the G Gundam kits had. That's what the frame of it looks like. It's really weird. It's not one I'd ever display with, the armor off.
I don't plan on it. When I get a chance...
with the GAT frame for, the Strike, that... I have my build Strike right now, half stripped down, and it looks super cool. You can do that with a lot of them. It looks really good if you do that with, the new Gundam Buraka or something, but the Thunderbolt Gundam, they put everything into the armor.
They did, which is why if I ever get a chance, I might get that armor hanger, because that would be great for diorama setups, because
I did want to comment on that. I thought about it. I really do actually like that.
Yeah, the hanger setup with the 2 rifles and the 2 bazookas is actually... That is a P. Bandai accessory that I would not mind having in my collection, in all honesty. As a matter of fact, let me check something real quick. I doubt they're going to have it listed yet. But
speaking of minding something in your collection, I didn't mention one other thing I found in that box of super old kits. For some reason, and I can't figure out why, there was an empty box in that whole setup of whatever. Everything else had Gundams in it, unbuilt models and whatnot. But I found the empty box of the F90 L-Type.
Is that your favorite one? That one?
I don't know if I left it in there as a warning for myself or what. I looked up, I was like, why is this in here?
Just write, never forget in, Sharpie underneath the box, just, hang it on your wall.
Yes.
Over your birth table.
I could have sworn I came across that thing on Mandarake one day.
I think I've seen most of the F90 kits up there from time to time, yeah.
Well, I think that just about covers everything we wanted to talk about. Wouldn't you agree, guys?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm pretty much done. I got stuff to edit.
All right. Well, guys, we thank you for listening to all of us ramble and rant and just be the goobers that we are. I'm gonna do something a little different. I want to know what you guys are wanting to hear out of us. So comment and leave ideas for us for future casts. As I stated earlier, audience participation is greatly encouraged, and I love getting to know what my viewers want to see me do. So until next time, guys, this is Dan the Plastic Man signing off.
And I'm Second Soundwave from Channel 2S, and I'll see you next time.
And MaxDuo from nowhere saying bye-bye.